Welcome, friends. Good morning. Today is Sunday, and today we are starting this new series in which we will learn about the management lessons that we learn from our ancient scripts. And today I have only one lesson to discuss that we learn from Mahabharata, and that is the leadership is not only about power. Well, power is one of the major part of a leadership, but what Mahabharata tells us about the leadership we will learn today. And as you know that the Krishna actually was one of the biggest leader that especially for Indians, we can recall, we can remember as a great leader. So we will analyze this particular lesson that Mahabharata teaches us. And since we are live, you can actually send in your message. Your message will be displayed on the screen. And if you have any specific comments, I will display your name and read out your comments and answer you. All right, let's begin our show. Well, as we know that Krishna, Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna basically became a guide and a mentor for Pandavas. We know this truth very well since, so in a true sense, Krishna, we know that, that story is known to every Indian. And in fact, a lot of people in the world who study, who are impressed with what Lord Krishna did. So he never fought actively in the battle, but he actually controlled the outcome of that. So he was a true leader, a thinking genius, and he implemented the strategy. So since we are focused on only one thing, which is the power, do you need power to be a leader? And Krishna had a lot of power, but he never used it actively. It's like a muscle power. When you have a lot of muscle power, are you going to use this muscle power, or you are going to use your mind? So this is exactly what the leadership, and that is why this lesson is very important, since it is going to be very valuable for modern time also. So he was a leader for Pandavas, but I think indirectly he was also leader of the entire world, the positive side as well as negative side, and he played a major role in controlling the outcome of whatever events he basically participated. So now let's jump onto the lessons that we learned from Mahabharata when it comes to leadership. So leadership is not about power, as I've been saying. Leadership is about empowerment. So this is so important. This is extremely important lesson that we learn, because Krishna never demonstrated his own power, although he was the most powerful person of the era. He had a lot of weapons with him. He had a huge army. He had his own capital, very powerful capital, which nobody dared to invade, not even gods. So he was very powerful, but he never utilized his power, his own personal power. He was charismatic. He had the ultimate weapons with him, and he is a demigod, but he never showed it to people. He allowed freedom of expression. People were criticizing him when he was in his era, in front on his own face, about his whatever he was doing, because whenever you do something, some people will be happy, other people will not be happy. So I think this is a very good lesson, that leadership is not about power, but it is about empowerment. So that is lesson number one, and how we have to understand this, because if we follow Lord Krishna's footstep, this is exactly what we learn, and learn to implement this in our real life scenario. What is the second thing that Krishna teaches us? This is leadership. One of the major role is guidance, and that is what the people are looking for. They are looking for guidance. It's not that the people are not capable. Say if there are people in your team, they are not capable. I mean, if you look at different characters in Mahabharata, all these characters were very, very capable people. They were all demigods. If you look at Yudhishthir, Arjun, even Duryodhan, Bhishma, who could have defeated Bhishma? There were not even Lord Shiva could defeat Bhishma. So they were very, very powerful people, and therefore, in addition to empowerment, you have to demonstrate the true leadership quality, you have to basically empower your team member. You also need to play a role of a guide, because this is exactly what people are looking from you, and that is what makes you a leader. If you are able to guide your team members, then they value you as a leader. So that is the biggest one of the big learning from Mahabharata, that Mahabharata teaches us. That is, it, as I keep saying, it's not about power, demonstrating power. A lot of leaders today actually tend to demonstrate their position, their power, but that's not what leadership is all about. Leadership is about providing empowerment to the people, and also the second thing is guidance. You don't have to give them everything ready made. I mean, it is not like that. Since you are powerful, you are intelligent, you are capable, you do the thing. No, that is not what the leader will do. They will actually guide their team member so that the team member can actually do the same thing. And that is why team member will feel that he's accomplished something. There is a feeling of accomplishment, and then that will generate feeling of loyalty towards the leader. So leader's role as per Mahabharata is that guidance. Guidance is very, very important. One of the key role for a leader that Mahabharata teaches us. In addition to that, it also teaches support. So, you can't be a hands-on leader. When you are a leader of your team, you can't say that, okay, since I have empowered everybody, I have given my guidance. Once in a month, I basically conduct a workshop in my team, and I give whole lot of guidance. Now it's up to people to basically demonstrate. No, that is not the way it is. That's not the leadership quality that Mahabharata teaches us. Mahabharata says that you have to be always standing in support of your team members. The team members should feel that there is a force behind them. If we fail, there is somebody who is going to come and correct us. If we get opposition, there is somebody who is going to support us and be with us. So you can't let go your team by saying that, hey, I have given you all the power, empowerment, I have given you all the guidance, and please go ahead and live your life. That is not the way Mahabharata teaches us. Mahabharata is very, very specific. You have to give support. Very important key word that Mahabharata teaches all leaders. So that is why Lord Krishna was always supporting Pandavas. Even without his presence, Pandavas felt that Lord Krishna is with them. Bhagwan Krishna is standing with them. So that is a very good virtue, because even though the leader is not present in the room, but the people, his team, will be driven by the leader indirectly, subconsciously. That is a very, very small, a strong and smart message that Mahabharata gives us. Then it also looked towards, now it delves into giving advices. So, while your team is capable, as I said, every person in Mahabharata at the time of Mahabharata, they were a leader in their own right, and they were very capable people. But at times, everybody needs, some sort of advice. What do I do? I have come across this situation, and I've done everything in my power, in my wit, in my thinking, but I'm not finding a solution. So what do I do? So the leadership at that time has to play a role of an advisor, which Krishna played a role of advisor all the time. He actually advised Pandavas, Krishna, and whoever. A couple of times he advised the negative forces like Duryodhan. He did not stay away from giving advice. He also advised so many other people. For example, if there were other characters like Shalya, and there were other characters, Shishupal. He advised them not to do bad things. And then, so the role of advisor, of a leader, is very, very critical. You have to keep advising, and you should not shy away from advising others. Now, other people will take advice. For example, Duryodhan did not take his advice, and look what happened to him. But people who took the advice actually gained a lot. So I think this is very, very important, where a leader give advice, and the people who are friendly with the leader has to follow the advice, good or bad. So the role of giving advice, you cannot say that, look, I will not give advice until unless somebody come and ask me. So you have to give advice voluntarily, and that is what shows leadership quality. You should not be afraid of speaking your mind. Very good lesson that Mahabharata teaches us. Now, in terms of what other qualities, we all know that Krishna was the main, person who actually uh, stood with Pandavas. And even though Pandavas were weaker, their army was smaller, they were less in numbers, they became victorious and they were able to defeat a huge army of Kauravas who were very, very capable army led by Bhishma. In spite of being smaller, weaker, less in number, they were able to defeat Kauravas. And that is what the leadership is all about. Bhagwan Krishna organized, strategized the entire battle plan of Mahabharata and efficiently managed people. Even though he was not directly involved in the battle, but he basically planned his moves very, very strategically, and he efficiently used people wherever they wanted. For example, there were sacrifices to be made. Both Arjun and Bhim sacrificed their children in order to win the war. Bhim sacrificed Ghatots, and his battle forced Karna to release all weapons on Ghatosh, so that there is nothing left for him to use on Arjun. So that was a strategy used by Krishna and his team member, which is Bhim, and in this case sacrificed his own son to achieve that objective. So efficiently using the resource at the right time. Similarly, during Chakravyuh, Abhimanyu was slaughtered by Kaurava because Abhimanyu was the only person at that point in time who could have saved Yudhishthira from being captured or killed. So he sacrificed, and that was a hero. One day he saved Pandavas from ultimate defeat, and he saved Yudhishthira from being captured and defeated. So even though he was just 16 years old, on that day Abhimanyu became such a big potent force that he fought alone with all the warriors on the field of Mahabharata, all of them, just alone. And later he perished. He gave his supreme sacrifice. So utilizing the right resource at the right time is a very, very important feature of a leader. I think this is a good lesson that Mahabharata teaches us. So if we actually follow these guidelines, we can become a good leader. I think that is for sure. And Mahabharata is probably written 5,000 to 6,000 years back, and this is a narration of our history, and it offers a great management lesson for all of us. And in the end, Bhagwan Krishna led dharma and defeated adharma and achieved the goal of the organization. So this is how the leadership works. You don't have to actively look like that you are actually fighting the battle, but you are ensuring that you are implementing the strategies, you are advising your team members, you are empowering them so that they are achieving it. And that is what the leadership is all about. We know that Krishna never took a weapon in his hand to fight, and he was just a benign person, not actively participating in the battle. Yet his advice is valued so much. His guidance led to the victory for Pandavas, and ultimately the goal was achieved. That is the leadership skill or the lesson that we must gather from Mahabharata. Well, there are a lot of examples of modern leaders who follow these guidelines. There are very successful leaders today who are leading their organizations, have put few pictures here, but then I must talk about Bill Gates. I must talk about so many leaders like uh, so many leaders like Sundar Pichai and others who are now leaders. They are leading these world-class organizations, and they are probably doing this thing. Don't expect a leader or a CEO to do everything from his own hand. So if somebody is leading Google, you don't expect him to run the entire Google. You expect the Google team to run Google. And a leader is required to give guidance, right strategy, empowerment, and supporting the team members so that the Google as a team can achieve things. So these are some of the lessons that we learn from Mahabharata. If you like these narration of mine, send me a shout out. If you have a question, please send me a comment and I will respond in the next business section. Otherwise, have a nice Sunday and I'll catch you again in the next one.